Okay, well, it's kind of a long story. When you're really young, then you don't expect to ever have to face something like this. Um, you have the sense that you're gonna live forever, basically, because, well, you've only been on Earth for, 23 years. You still have maybe triple that length to go, and that's 2 more lifetimes ahead of you. So it does seem like forever. I was diagnosed August 2008. My dad passed away October 2008 from the same exact type of cancer. But the last few months before he was officially diagnosed, then you could really see just in his face and demeanor that he was really rapidly diminishing. And I was living in Chicago at the time, and I came home to visit, and I could tell he was in really bad shape when I saw him. Like, I hate to say it, but he looked like death when I saw him. And so then when I got back to Chicago, then I got the call about the cancer diagnosis. Sorry. I don't normally talk about this stuff. We'll get back to that. 2009 was the first time that I fundraised for the LLS. And at the time, they were requesting that to form a team, that they wanted teams to fundraise a minimum of $2,000. And then my friend Andrew, your brother, wanted to form a team, but we only had maybe 2 months till the walk. And I thought, there is no way in hell that we're going to raise $2,000. But, let's give it a shot. If we come up short, then we just don't have an official team. What difference does it make?
Well, I think just passionate about it because, Jim was going through something, him personally, for himself, and also his, with his dad passing. I think it was just important to show that he was, we were all there for him, not just me. That's why we want a team. You get everybody close to Jim, our brother, our cousins, our friends. It's not just like, hey, Jim, we're here for, I'm here for you. We're here for you, like, all of us. I think that's how I feel about a lot of things. We're always, our friends, we're a close group of people. So, if somebody's going through something, it's not just him and he's going to go through it with all of us. So that's why I feel the team aspect. That's what I think that's really what brought me to wanting to join as a team. To show our group support. It's not just me, but it's everybody, because everybody feels the same way, amongst our friends.
I think that was the best feeling I've ever had, because it got started because of my husband and James, Jimmy, honoring my husband.
So, how about you? When you were diagnosed and everything, how did you feel?
If it weren't for my shoulder, then I wouldn't have known that anything was wrong with me at all. But, I play tennis a lot, and so a shoulder injury isn't that uncommon. I wouldn't really think much of it, except that when it got so bad to the point that I couldn't even turn the steering wheel in my car, then I started thinking maybe I had torn a rotator cuff or something very bad, obviously. So I went to the doctor maybe a few days later, and at that point it was not so much in my shoulder, but just kind of like across here. And so I really didn't know what that meant, if it was something in my chest or my shoulder, I didn't know. And the doctor had said that he thought it was some sort of inflammation on my lung, and that if it didn't clear up in a few days, then to go get an x-ray. But I could tell, just having had that pain for a few weeks, that something wasn't right. So I just went straight to the ER and got an x-ray that night. They came back and said, we need to do a CAT scan. It looks like some sort of weird pneumonia. And for some reason, though, when they were wheeling me back for the CAT scan, then I just had that feeling that it was cancer, because my dad had already had it. I don't really know, aside from that, why I would have thought that. But all I really thought was that if it is cancer, then I just feel so bad for my mom right now.
When Jim was in the emergency room and the doctor told me that it looked like he could have lymphoma, and at the time my husband was in the hospital recuperating from a stem cell transplant with the same thing, I was devastated. I think it was the worst night of my life. I could not believe it. I came home screaming at God. I screamed at the top of my lungs when I got in the house and said, don't you dare, don't you even think about taking my son. And I just think it was the worst thing that ever happened to me.
And so it was right around the time that I got that job that I had gotten the call from home to tell me that my dad had been diagnosed with cancer. And when I got that call,
Who called you?
my dad called me. And he told me. And I was just like crying so much on the phone that I couldn't say anything at all. But they told me that he was going to do okay, that he was going to start radiation and this and that I had no reason to really worry about it. So I stayed in Chicago and worked. I later found out way after the fact that they were basically just lying to me, and that the doctor had really said that he had 2 weeks. But I guess they just didn't want me to worry, so I suppose they were just trying to look out for me. It was an easy decision. Despite having such a good job, it was an easy decision for me to leave it. Because, money and work really isn't that important to me. And I thought that I can find a job anywhere, but I only have one father, so the way that I had imagined it was that I'd almost felt like it was destiny in a way, the way that everything was unfolding in my life at the time, that I would return home and be his match and kind of like save his life, and then we'd be even closer together, and everything would be great. And I guess that man, this is gonna be hard to talk about. I'd always wanted to be closer to my dad.
You can change the subject if you want.
Yeah.
I know you're gonna cry because I cry.
I just need a second, that's all. Anyway, I thought that would be like our opportunity. And in a way it really was. So I had to come back, and things were almost exactly how I had imagined it. They tested, obviously when you're going to be a stem cell donor, then you have to go through a barrage of tests to make sure that not only are you a match, but that you're healthy enough to be donating your cells. So they tested me, my sister, and both of his sisters, and I was the match. And everything I do now is really in his honor. I guess in a way I'm trying to, maybe I have that same complex where, I'm trying to live up to what he would want. Because I kind of feel like my whole life I was just wanting to make him proud.
I guess he would always feel like he's, trying to be what his father is, but I think he's well on his way, if not there already.
Well, it's really strange that, like I said, when I was young, then I didn't always feel as close to my dad as I felt I should. I mean, I always loved my dad, obviously, but we just really didn't have that much in common, and he traveled a lot for his work, so naturally I was a lot closer to my mom. But I had always imagined that maybe as I get older, then I'll be able to relate to him more, and that is exactly what's happening. And even now that he's gone, then I see more and more of it in my life, how much I am like him. And that, that's a great thing. I mean, if I had his personality and his work ethic, I'd probably be better off than I am now, but, I'm still learning.
You gotta crawl to the right, kick, crawl to the left, kick. Spread your wings to God. Crawl to the right, kick, crawl to the left, kick. Spread your wings to heaven.